We continue our conversation now on AstraZeneca and DuPont possibly downsizing, with AstraZeneca possibly moving, with John Boyd, who runs the Boyd Company. They are location consultants. You know, John, when I was a kid growing up in Philadelphia, I heard so much about Delaware being business friendly, company friendly. It's a state where companies want to go to. And now all the conversations are about companies leaving. What was the change in the culture?
Larry, it signifies how competitive economic development is. We talk about economic development really as a second war amongst the states. Every state is competing for new industry. And there are things that Wilmington, that Delaware can do to become more business friendly.
Such as?
Obviously, lowering the corporate income tax rate like Pennsylvania wants to do, lowering the personal income tax rate, the corporate income tax rate. Also,
the estate tax is now.
The estate tax.
Yeah, that's in the legislature right now.
That's something that job creators want to see happen. Even more exciting would be a right to work law. Half the states today are right to work states. Delaware should be a right to work state. We liken that type of game-changing legislation to what happened 30 years ago when Governor Pierre DuPont worked with leaders in the private sector to tweak Delaware's usury laws, which ushered in enormous amounts of new projects, financial service projects, in the Wilmington region.
So the culture I'm talking about, you're saying, started with that?
It did.
And has it changed?
The Chancery Court system, the usury court, the usury laws made Delaware a premier place, a mecca for the financial services industry. The reality is, though, that these projects, economic development is very, very competitive. And Wilmington has several issues it needs to address. Number one being crime. There can be no economic development without safe streets. And I think the new police commissioner seems to understand that. More police are necessary. I think the addition of a homicide unit is something that job creators want to happen to make the city more amenable to millennials. That's the area of the labor markets that cities want to attract are a young workforce, folks that want to live and work in a downtown urban environment.
Yeah, there seems to be no crime downtown. I mean, it's a very minimal crime downtown. It's more headlines that people read about Wilmington. Sure. It's only a couple of areas, but let's talk about AstraZeneca specifically. When they look at Delaware and they make decisions about downsizing, they move their research department. How much of that is Delaware, and how much of that is just the ebb and flow of a company?
A lot of it is the ebb and flow of the company. AstraZeneca has reduced its brick and mortar real estate presence here over the past decade. It's shrunk its workforce from 5,000 workers to about 2,000 workers. And a lot of that has to do with the cost pressures associated with the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, today, the concern about AstraZeneca, it remains a very attractive prospect for being acquired because of its strong pipeline, and of course, it's domiciled in the UK, which means a company like Merck or Eli Lilly, for example, could purchase AstraZeneca not only for its rich pipeline, but also as part of a global tax avoidance strategy.
Well, let's take that to the next step, and then the fear for Delaware is they could just do away with the Delaware presence for AstraZeneca if another company were to buy it.
That obviously would be a concern. And then the question becomes, how do we attract new ratables to the Wilmington region? And I think that a great target is financial services.
John Boyd from the Boyd Company, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Larry.
As always, when we come back, we have a representative of the state that wants to make it a little easier to vote in Delaware, and he's getting a major pushback. In fact, it may not happen. That's when the Delaware Way continues.